Good morning, my dear friends. I'm here at 22nd Street Landing where the Friedman Adventures studio is. It's an absolutely gorgeous morning. The Monte Carlo, the half-day boat here out of 22nd Street Landing, is trying to get out again today. They were out yesterday, came in a little early. It was a little breezy. It's a little breezy this morning, but they should be able to get out and have some fun, and you'll be able to breathe some salt air. So don't forget, 22nd Street Landing at 10 a.m., the Monte Carlo, if you want to go out there and catch a fish or two or just experience the ambience of the Eastern Pacific. We got a lot to cover with you, including albacore rumors down south. Yes, they're flourishing right now with this cold water. A really big yellowfin tuna down there on the Royal Polaris on a long-range trip. Captain Roy Rose doing his usual fine work. We've sent all of our stuff across the border to help out our brothers and sisters on the other side. We can't wait to get down there and hand that all out. And I got to thank my friend Enrique, who's the owner of Ferga Incorporated, Ferga Incorporated. He is the man that picked up all the stuff with the truck, and we're deeply, deeply appreciative to you, my friend Enrique. And there's so many, well, I've got to thank all of you for donating. I've got to thank Gallagher Staging. I got to thank my friend Phil Capricio, who showed up with tons of stuff down there. Phil's a great guy and great baits, and I'm leaving people out. I better stop while I'm behind right now. Dave Hansen, good morning, Dave, down in Cabo. I was on Dave's great show, Your Saltwater Guide, yesterday. Dave is a phenomenal talent and a really dear friend, and it's been that way for many, many, many decades. And as long as I'm still taking a breath, it's going to remain that way. Check out Your Saltwater Guide, and that interview we did yesterday was a lot of fun. Don't forget Patreon members. Friedman Adventures Patreon members will be here tomorrow, 12 noon, with pulled pork sandwiches. I'm telling you, Chuck Zimmer cooks pulled pork like nobody, man. It's going to be really good. We'll have some sides. We'll have some fun. We'll have a free raffle for our Patreon members tomorrow. It'll be a good time for us to get together. And Danny Cadota is going to be there. It's going to be a fantastic day. Brian Wynn, who's such an expert in sport fishing, you'll be able to pick his brain. And I'm sure a lot of the guys, the Independence is here, and a lot of the guys are doing maintenance on their boat. So you'll be able to meet some of the captains tomorrow also. You think they're going to skip out on a pulled pork meal? They're not going to skip out at all. All right, my friends, let's get into it. You know what time it is. It's time for a swig of this deliciously spiritual coffee, and it's time for the morning briefing. Oh, my God. That is really good, and I need that here this morning. It's a gorgeous morning at 22nd Street. As I previously mentioned, we've got the Monte Carlo taken off. All right, let's jump into it right now because there's some big news on the Royal Polaris. Steve Poindexter. Way to go, Steve. What a catch with Roy Rose and the great crew of the Royal Polaris yesterday, kite fishing a 336-pound YFT, kite fishing about a 3-hour battle. They've been dealing with wind down there, like 15 to 25. They've been picking a few tuna and a few wahoo here and there because of that inclement weather. However, Steve came through with an outstanding catch. Just take a look at that beautiful fish. It's gorgeous. And man, hats off to the Royal Polaris for their second biggest YFT, their second biggest yellowfin tuna of the year. That is really something special. All right, let me talk about the weather down there. You know, even at Cedros, it's windy down there right now, and it's just been a windy kind of situation. As we look to the opener for rockfish in Southern California and stay on the topic of weather for a moment, man, the weather forecast, if it holds up, is gorgeous for next weekend. It's going to be a beautiful opener in Southern Cal and Northern Baja, although rockfish has been open and remains open in Northern Baja, but the weather's going to be really, really nice, and that bodes well for a lot of stuff. Punta Colonet, where the yellowtail bite was outstanding. Day after St. Patrick's Day, it was a phenomenal bite for the Liberty, who had limits of those nice 15 to 25-pound grade yellowtail down there at Colonet, fishing the yo-yo iron and the heavy string. Then the next day, the Polaris Supreme goes in there and gets 120 big yellowtail, and of course, copious amounts of colorful, delicious, wonderful rockfish. I can't think of any more superlatives about those little rockfish down there. And I know a lot of guys here in SoCal are excited about the opener April 1st. In SoCal, you'll be able to take rockfish. So you can concentrate on a surface bite and then back it up with some great eating rockfish. Nothing wrong with that. I mentioned albacore rumors. Somebody is claiming they caught, this goes on every year. Could be, probably not, but comes from a decent source, not my source, another guy's source who says he believes the guy, but he got it from another guy, and man, when it starts getting like that, it's dicey. But right off Ensenada, not too far, maybe 30 miles, there is a supposed catch of longfin tuna. We're working to confirm that or actually put it in the trash. And again, we are thinking about albacore so much this year because we have so much cooler water. Albacore are a cooler water loving tuna, 63.5 degrees, and they're in heaven, man. They love that kind of water temp. And it can go either way, and I've seen albies caught in 70 plus degree weather and of course in the high 50 degrees. So we'll see what happens, and again, we'll continue to watch that for you very, very closely. Now, still what we are dealing with when we start at the border, so we're starting in San Diego and moving up to Santa Barbara Sea Landing, we're still dealing with trying to catch shallow water we're still trying to catch, man, I need another sip of that coffee. We're still trying to catch sculpin, whitefish, and sheep's head. Those are legal right now. And then, of course, some of the calico bass and sand bass that are on structure. Those fish are on structure, so we need to continue to fish that fluorocarbon. That works really well. Get more bites. It's resistant to the abrasion. So when you're fishing these fish and they're on structure, they're going to come out, grab your bait, and then head right back into that structure. That's why it is essential to start turning the handle on those little devils right away. You got to really get some line on them. When you get them up away from the structure, you can calm down a little bit and then just nurse them up to the surface, where hopefully you'll need a gaff on a big old grumpy sand bass or nice calico bass. Fresh dead or live squid is the best way to go. You're going to base how much weight you use on the wind and current. Sometimes a 2 ounce is going to work. Sometimes you got to go a lot heavier than that. So keep that in mind. It's actually gorgeous down here at 22nd Street Landing right now. It's a beautiful day here on the beach. We'll see how it is offshore. In terms of that squid that we just mentioned, there's a lot of it around, and that bodes well for a sea bass bite this year and those halibut, perhaps even some wintertime yellowtail. It just is a magnet, that market squid, to bring all those predators in here. And I'm so excited about that, because I think once this weather gets out of the picture, we get out of this rain, and don't forget, next Tuesday and Wednesday, more rain coming, it sounds like, in SoCal. But once we get out of it and we look ahead to next weekend, it looks gorgeous. And man, I'm expecting to see the Channel Islands take off really, really soon. By the way, we do have some room on our Endeavor trip. I believe that's May the 3rd. Endeavor, Ventura Sport Fishing. Man, I'll tell you, those guys are all over it. Tucker McCombs is one of the best fishermen anywhere, and his work ethic is second to none. And his crew, same thing, man. Really good with people and catching fish. You can't beat it. So if you'd like info on that trip, and we also have a 2-day trip with a few spots open here on the Apollo, which is going to be a good one. That's at the end of May. Man, that should be a rock and roll trip. You want our charter list? Don't delay. 657-227-6459. Just send me a text. Tell me you want the charter list, and we'll get you all ready to rock and roll. Brian Burrell is here. He's hoping the Monte Carlo gets out, so don't forget, Monte Carlo 10 a.m. if they can get out. All right, so that's what we're dealing with until the weekend, and then everything's going to change because we've got rockfish. And while some of you may not like to catch rockfish, it's one of my favorites because they're fun to catch. You never know what's going to come up from the depths, and they're such great eating fish. It just opens up your options because now you know you're probably going to go home with some fish in the sack, and that is really great news. All right, my friends, once again, we are going to continue to watch this big fish on the Royal Polaris. That is really great news. Albacore rumors down in Ensenada, still catching rockfish south of the border, opening up next weekend with a great weather forecast. So whatever boat it is that you decide to jump on, whatever landing, it looks like it could be good. Patreon members, party tomorrow right here. If you're a Patreon member, just come on down and enjoy. Can't wait to shake your hand and thank you, because you Patreon members are the life's blood of Friedman Adventures, and we deeply, deeply appreciate that. All right, my friends, I think we're good. Can't wait. It's going to be another big day. I'm going to clean up around here a little bit because it's a freaking mess. That's why, number one. And Greg Bates and I think Bob Gifford are going to come down. I'm kind of, giving them a little push right now to come on down, and we'll get this all cleaned up, and then we'll have really a phenomenally beautiful day tomorrow. Can't thank you enough. Don't forget, check out Your Saltwater Guide on YouTube and all social media. Dave Hansen, my good buddy. Thank you so much, Enrique, down south there, for helping us out. Diego Nuno, thank you for facilitating all of this clothing and medical supplies and games and toys and educational stuff going to our brothers and sisters in Mexico as a way of thanking them for allowing us to fish their beautiful, bountiful, pristine waters. All right, take care, my friends. I hope you have a really great morning. And once again, if I don't see you tomorrow, and I hope to see you really, really soon.